We are back for Summer House Martha's Vineyard Ep.7. This was a good episode. Like it was a lot of progression with one person. We'll get to it. But yeah, I also have some comments because I don't like where this direction's going with Nick, but we'll get to it. But if you are new here, and if you're not new here, thumbs up the video, drop a comment, let me know what y'all's thoughts are. Subscribe if you are new, and that's all I got to say. Let's go. All right, so we get back to Summer pretty much going off still with Noelle with the cliffhanger from last week, talking about how Noelle was forming friendships and yada, yada, yada. Noelle then ends up asking her, like, how are you? Like, how are you doing? And Summer says, like, I'm good, but I'm drunk. And then she then proceeds to state that she has a problem with Bria making her out to be crazy. And then kind of like ushers Noelle out, like, I'm done talking about it. So Noelle goes back in the room. Summer is now in the room with Jasmine and Jordan. And she's breaking down. Like, she's breaking down. Jordan's sitting there consoling her, hugging her, and Jasmine's just sitting there watching. And it was funny to me because Jasmine was literally just sitting there like this as Jordan is literally consoling and hugging on Summer as she cries. But Summer randomly tells Jordan how much that she loves the wig that she has on, and they all started laughing. It kind of like broke the little tense moment with her crying and stuff. So they all started laughing, so whatever. That was the end of the night. We get to the next morning. The backyard's a mess from the party. Nobody did anything to clean it up, obviously, because everybody was drunk and they had all them fights going on. But Nick ends up heading out to go run in a race, which I immediately assumed a 5K, which makes sense because the way Nick, like, he got running shoes, like the shoes that he has, I got a bunch of those. But he just gives off that he's a marathon runner. And of course, we find out that he actually does run marathons and he's running a 5K today. I noticed this immediately, but it's going to become a point of contention this episode. But nobody like got up. Nobody went to go see him run. Nobody told him good luck. Nothing. I noticed that immediately. We're going to get to that later on, though, because he brings it up. But Nick says that running gives him a peace of mind. I agree. I fully agree. He's ran 10 marathons, and the moment that he heard about them having a 5K out there at the Martha's Vineyard, he knew that he needed to run it and wanted to run it. So that's what he's doing. But he also lets us know that he has a lot of people coming in from out of town today, and he's going to pretty much throw a party. And he's just got a full plate today. Like, he's got the race, he's got to come home, get everything together because, you know, he has to host that party that's coming on later on today. And a lot of his people are coming. So everybody else is getting up for the day as he's out there running. And Amir pretty much asked Natalie how she felt about last night. And she said that she had to step away because it got too crazy for her. I'm like, I wonder what you mean by that. And then she said it's not her vibe. And we know why it's not your vibe. We know why it's not your vibe, Natalie. Like, she said it's not the behavior, but she said it's more so the behavior that was going on and not the girls. I'm like, okay, whatever. But Summer ends up stating that her episode last night was kind of a pile-up that just exploded, which I know that to be true because, like I say, I'm the type of person, I like to spit it all out. Like, I don't like to talk about my problems, but if I have an issue with somebody, I like to address it immediately because if I allow it to sit and fester when it does come out, it's kind of like that. It's going to hit you in a way that is not appropriate. I won't be able to filter myself because I've held it in so long. So Summer's got to get to the point where she can just address everything the way she needs to that is respectful. But yeah, she also needs to talk to somebody because she's dealing with a lot of stuff, and a lot of that pent up stress and anger that she has does need to be spoken with somebody that is there to help her because she needs help. But she's regretting treating them the way that she did, kind of having the same episode that she always does. She acts out and then regrets it later. Like, Summer has a pattern of doing things that she's going to regret, but she still ends up doing it. But she said she wants to open up more to people so people can understand her more. I'm like, yeah, that's what you need to do at this point. But then again, you got to trust the people that you're opening up to. So I also understand that too. But she said she knows she has to make her rounds with everybody again, a.k.a. she got to go around and apologize. But Nick is at his 5K. He's running good. He took, as soon as they started running that whistle, blowing the whistle, he took off running first. We're going to get to his results later on. But Noelle and Alex, they're downstairs eating breakfast, pretty much talking about last night. Noelle ends up filling him in on how that innocent interaction and the innocent exchange between Bria and pretty much Summer downstairs turned into something crazy real quick. Bria is upstairs talking to Natalie about it, saying how Summer had snapped and was trying to fight her and Noelle. I don't want to say she was trying to fight them, but she definitely got physical, which she was out of line for that. But Noelle said that she was drunk and she couldn't understand if like she had this mentality. Well, actually, Noelle said she could understand if it was like she was essentially being jumped verbally, like I'm trying to get my points off, but y'all just like attacking me. She said I would understand if she acted that way for that situation, but I wasn't doing that. Like I was chill. I was just trying to reason with her, but she snapped on me. Noelle's not wrong in that. But Alex said at this point, we got to start making excuses for people being drunk. I said, exactly, because y'all all are grown. Like being drunk does not give you an excuse to start lashing out on people, doesn't give you an excuse to start hitting people and putting your hands on people. But Preston says, like, if you're an emotional or aggressive drunk, you just need to stop. And I said, exactly, period. Like, literally, period. Put the period on it. But all while this is going on, Summer is eavesdropping on the stairs, talking about she being nosy. But Nick ends up finishing his race. He finished fifth in a time of 19 minutes and 30 seconds. That's good. Running a 5K in under 20 minutes, that's crazy good. But we found out that he has a very significant relation to that number 5 because he lost his fraternity brother last summer. I think he said last summer or either this summer. His pledge number was number 5, and that number's been constant around him since he passed. We'll get to that later on too. But Summer ends up going down with the group. Pretty much, Alex is starting to get everybody to start getting up and cleaning and whatever. But Summer then takes that as a moment to tell Noelle that she wants to pull her to talk. Noelle gets up. She didn't look like she wanted to. But Noelle goes in there and sits down with her and lets her know like she feels hurt because some days she feels like Summer likes her and some days she feels like she don't. And Summer says it's not that. Like she loves her and she has a lot of love for her, but she was angry with Bria, pretty much making excuses. But she was saying that essentially Noelle was on the receiving end of that and she didn't want her around all of that because she knows how she is when she lashes out. She said when she gets angry, she sees red and she's more like Bria than she wants to admit, which she is. But again, that doesn't give you an excuse for doing what you did with Noelle when Noelle wasn't doing nothing wrong. Noelle did not do anything wrong. She was trying to reason with you, but then again, she is drunk. So it's like, how much can you reason with somebody that is drunk? But it's all Summer's fault in regards. There's no fault that should be given on Noelle's end. But Noelle ends up asking her if she remembers pushing her, and Summer says no. And then she says it's not an excuse, and then she decides to apologize, and she states that she'll never do it again. Summer, we've seen that you say that you never put your hands on people again, and you end up doing it. But I always respect somebody that will apologize, but then again, after you do something, you apologize, you do it again. At this point, that's manipulation. So she needs to let her actions be the apologies. So you need to do that going forward. But Noelle says, I feel like it's just a bit deeper. Like at this point, Noelle's kind of stoic. Like she's not really looking like she's forgiving. She looks more like, okay, you have an issue. And I'm glad she did do this because it made Summer realize like, yeah, I do have an issue and I do need to fix it. And she said it like, I feel like it's the alcohol. It's not an excuse, but she was already in that kind of like drunk mindset. And Noelle says a drunk mindset is speaking a sober heart, which is true. And she said that she comes across as a spicy, mean drunk, and that is concerning. And she said she felt like she was discarded last night. But Natalie is now relaying everything that was told to her from Bria to Donald and Jordan downstairs. But Noelle is still talking to Summer, and she tells her it's okay to not have it all together. Like you can have certain things about you that you might need help with, and I see that. Like I truly see that. I see where Summer's coming from though, because me, I'm the type of person. If I'm dealing with something, you're just not gonna know it. Like I'm the type of person that likes to deal with it on my own, behind the scenes. And every day in everyday life, you will look at me and think that my life is perfect because I'm the type of person that does not like to talk about certain things that I might be going through. So I see and I can relate to Summer in that instance. But Noelle is right. But she says like, what she said? She said it's real to say that you're going through something, and she feels like she can be there for her because that's her friend. But they both started crying. Noelle was getting emotional. Summer was already like bloodshot red tears. But Summer says that when she's hurting, she hurts other people, but she's trying to do better. At least she knows that. But Noelle says that she can always forgive. In her confessional, she's saying this about their relationship. She can always forgive, but it'll never be the same. But they ended up hugging and they wrapped that up. Nick gets home from his race with some flowers because he finished his fifth. He comes in and lets, I think it was Jasmine, Amir, and maybe Preston down there, lets him know that he finished fifth. Jasmine congratulated him. Jasmine ends up lighting a candle upstairs and putting it by a flower, and Noelle comes behind her and blows it out. She's like, why the fuck would she put this candle right here that's lit under a flower? I'm like, you're right. Thank God Noelle did come up there because it could have been a fire. But Bria is downstairs telling Nick that she got things to do because Nick is apparently now at this point telling her, I want to have a meeting to kind of discuss what we need to do because we know I'm having this event. I'm hosting this event. I want this to go this way. Because if he's hosting an event and he's the one that's in charge of everything and he needs your assistance as y'all all live in that house, the house is where the event's going to be hosted. I feel like y'all do need to chip in. Like, I do feel that. So with him wanting to have that meeting to kind of like lay everything out, I feel like they should be able to listen to what he's saying and try and accommodate what he's trying to have done because he's hosting it. And if you was hosting an event, you would want all hands on deck too. Because why do I want to do everything by myself when I have 12 people here that can help me and it'll take a load off of me too? But Bria, being the spoiled brat that she is, talking about she don't want to have to do a meeting or whatever. And she's like, just tell me what you want me to do now. And she then says too, like when she had her event that nobody helped. I'm glad Bravo went ahead and did that flashback because Alex was helping, Shanice was helping, and guess who else was helping? Nick. Nick, the one who's asking you to help him, was helping you helping you do your event, but you trying to act like nobody was helping you. Bria, this is what I say about Bria. She's aggravating. Like Bria aggravates me, but she's sitting there talking about how she doesn't want to have a meeting to be told what to do. Nick says like he wants to have that meeting so he can lay everything out. And she said, just tell me what I can do so I can just do that one job. I said, you are a trip. But Nick says if you want to, or if you don't want to help, then don't help. He said that pretty much in his confessional. But I'm like, I agree. At this point, like, you got such an attitude, just go on. Like, go on somewhere. But he then tells her that pretty much go tidy up the bathrooms. Like, make sure everything looks good in there. She agrees to do it, and Shanice follows behind her. But Nick is now telling Donald, like, what is the attitude for? Like, I don't understand it. And Donald agreed, like, that was too much. And I felt the same way. I'm like, why are you doing all that? It's like a simple task. But Shanice and Bria are upstairs talking shit about it, talking about something she don't care. Bria said, I don't care. I got my dog and my man to deal with. If that's the case, then go home. Like, go home. Like, I can tell Bria probably don't be cleaning up around the house. She's sitting there saying she's not handling shit on vacation. Hire a maid. I'm like, I guess, but you there for 20 days and you don't want to clean up after yourself. That's crazy. But Nick then has the meeting and states that he went to the race. He brought this up, and I'm glad he brought it up. He said he went to the race by himself. Nobody accompanied him. Nobody went to support him. Nobody went to cheer him on. That kind of upset him. He said, I got no support. Nobody even sent me a text. Nobody said good luck. I'm like, yeah, y'all fucked up for that. Noelle was like, did you not see what just happened last night? How all this fighting was happening. Everybody was drunk. I needed my sleep. Yes, that did happen, Noelle, but I agree with Nick. Like, at the very least, y'all could have just texted him good luck. And y'all could have literally put some shades on and went outside hungover because you would have been sweating. You would have sweated off that hangover. But y'all could have went out there and supported that man while he ran in that 10K. He ran it in 20 minutes. You would have been fine. Like, chill out. But he starts giving out the task and whatever. But Bria is still upstairs talking shit, talking about she don't clean bathrooms and yada, yada, yada. Everybody got their assignments. We find out that Tasia, his girlfriend, is already there, but she's having lunch with her sister. And he wants it to be a good experience for her because of last season, how it wasn't such a great experience. And he wants to have her have a good time while she's there because she's not going to be there for long. But everybody's cleaning. Nick's friend, Patrick, and his cousin Bree arrived 2 hours later. He introduces them to everybody. Summer already knew who Bree was. They're cool. Summer pretty much lets Bree know that she's not going to be drinking today. Bree does not drink. And I said, that's good, Summer. You need a day where you're not drinking, so it's good. And it actually benefited her. We'll talk to that later on. But Tasia ends up showing up. Nick and her hug and kiss. He starts talking about all the things that he loves about her, says she gives him grace and knows that he's not perfect. Natalie ends up walking Tasia upstairs to her room, and Nick has some like pink rose petals up there on there. She loved it. But Jordan is also in the room with Summer, talking about what Natalie was told by Bria about her saying what she said about their friendship, about her, Preston, and Bria's Jordan's friendship. and saying how it wasn't easy to deal with. And Summer pretty much emotionally says like it's not about you, it's more so about me and like how all my friendships and all my relationships are fucked up. And Jordan gave her some pretty good advice. Like she really did give her good advice. Like own up to it, move forward. Like try not to turn back and do the same thing over and over again. Jordan, this episode was pretty good. Jordan aggravates me sometimes, but this when she's on it, she's on it, and when she's right, she's right. And I feel like all this episode she was right, but we'll get to it. But Jordan then goes downstairs with Bria and Shanice, pretty much asking Bria how she is with Summer right now. And Bria says, like, I don't even know at this point because, like, a private conversation got thrown up in my face, which is kind of the same thing that happened with Jordan. But she pretty much said how, like, the whole comment that she made about that's why your man treats you the way he treats you, that got thrown up in her face. Jordan was like, looking like, yeah, that's what happens with her. But Bria says she don't know if she can trust her and she wants to keep her at a distance. And as she's saying this and they're having this conversation downstairs in the kitchen, in walks Summer. Summer comes up and they're kind of like trying to dodge the fact that they were actually having a conversation. But Summer ends up saying to Bria how she wants to talk to her. And Bria's like, no, we're not doing it right now, but we might do it later on. And Summer's like, yeah, okay, well then just come and talk to me and let me know. So she walks back upstairs. 1 hour later, Mariah shows up to the house. Everybody else is slowly arriving. Everybody else is starting to get ready. And Summer pretty much says that her decision to be sober is her wanting to show up better for herself, knowing all the shit that she's going through. It will help her with her own personal progression. And I'm like, exactly. It took you 7 episodes into this season to finally realize what you need to do. And I'm proud of it. But Amir then goes into the kitchen to fill up his drink. Mariah is standing there. Mariah, they pretty much have like this surface level like greeting. And Mariah says she wants to pull him to the side and have a conversation. So they go and sit in them chairs in front of the island. And Amir doesn't want to do it, but he goes and does it. But Mariah pretty much states again how she was hurt by him not speaking up when everything transpired the last season. And she also brings up how nobody in their right mind would put dog shit together with laundry, which is true. It's valid. Like you in your right mind is not going to put some dog stuff. You're not going to wash dog stuff with clothing that human beings wear. You're not going to do that. So in this instance, with the whole situation, I agree with Mariah. I do. Whether Amir thought it was a mistake, because he said that too. And then she ended up saying, like, you're a realtor. And she said she felt like that's a reason as to why he shouldn't have done it. I don't know where that correlation came from, but still, I still stand on the side where she's saying, like, nobody in their right mind would do that. It'd be one thing if he was drunk doing it, but he didn't. He was sober doing it. But he says, like, me being a realtor has nothing to do with me getting shit mixed up. Like, it was an accident. I'm like, yeah, you're right about that, but it was an accident. So if it was an accident, you should have apologized for the fact that you literally kicked off everything that happened. You didn't do that. And that's what makes me think it wasn't an accident. Just like Mariah said, I don't think it was an accident. I don't either, because if it wasn't an accident, why aren't you owning up to the fact that you caused it all? And he then starts to say that he apologized and he said that he's sorry that it happened. And she said, I appreciate it, but she also wants him to understand his part in the situation. And he said that he owned up to it and apologized in the moment, but her reaction was her decision to react that way. And he's not understanding what she's looking for. And she says, like, I'm not looking for anything. And then they agreed and then decided they're good. And then he walks off awkwardly. But I'm like, Amir, just you need to own up to that fact because you are the reason why that happened. Like, if he would have told Bria that he was the one that did it, she wouldn't have. Mariah wouldn't have. That's the thing. If he would have just communicated all of this, it would have stopped everything. But whatever, it happened. But the party's in full swing. He then goes outside to tell Nick and Alex how awful the conversation went. And he's claiming that Mariah just wanted him to state that it was all his fault, and he's not doing that. And Nick is like, y'all sitting here arguing about laundry that happened 365 days ago. I'm like, you got a point. But we get Preston also in the kitchen now addressing Summer about that same conversation that Jordan did about their friendship. And Summer says the context was quick, but she looked at Shanice, Bria, and Noelle's their like friendship and relationship as like super light and fun, whereas their relationship is super like more heavy. They have a lot more depth to it, and she just was jealous of the lightheartedness of their friendship, which I can see where she's coming from in regards to that. And she states how like I've been going through a lot. I've been going through a lot of heavy shit. Life is heavy for me right now, so I just wanted to have some type of light airy fun. And she tells Preston, like, I loved you. Well, she says she does love him and she loves their friendship and everything. And they're like family. And Preston took it well. He was like, and he didn't take offense to how it happened because she explained it. And she's like, or he was like, I'm happy that you said that. And I'm happy to be the fun person. I'm happy to be that person for you. And Summer says, like, the people that are actually worth being there won't leave, which is true. And she gets emotional. She walks out. Preston goes outside to console her. She thanks him for saying what he said, and they hug and stuff. And Preston's been there for her. When we get Jordan and Preston in their confessional stating that they wish that Summer would have just said something, saying that if she felt they were overwhelming her, they would have adjusted and they would have pivoted. But Preston says, like, they cry, laugh, and yell all the time. Like, they have all those different emotions, and that's the type of relationship and the type of friendship that he wants, which is true. Like, you can't always be super happy all the time. And if you have moments where somebody's not checking you as a friend, then that's not a good friendship. So I agree with both of them. But Jordan says that she feels like Summer was just looking to be somebody's number one, trying to find her puzzle piece, even though they thought they was a tripod puzzle piece. But whatever. The party starts going on. Jordan is getting her DJ set together. And as she's doing this, Amir ends up mistaking Destiny from Love Island. I was like, what is she doing here? And then later on, we see Kyle from Love Island, who she ended up leaving the island with, which I'm assuming were they still together during this time. But they both was there. I was like, okay, interesting crossover. But he mistaken Destiny for Jordan. And as he's saying, oh, was that Jordan? Because of the wigs and stuff. Natalie's talking about, like, she's sitting there looking stupid and looking upset. And he's like, what's wrong with you? And she's like, you said, is that Jordan? And he was like, yeah, what's wrong with that? And she was like, well, you just said, is that Jordan? I'm like, are you serious? Him mentioning her name is enough to get you riled up. Like, you need to, it's something in here that you got to work out, Natalie. And then Amir, you weird too, because I wouldn't be dealing with her. Like, you that insecure, I can mention somebody's name that I didn't even have a relationship with, and you are that upset? Weird. But Nick ends up gathering everybody, making a speech, thanking everybody for coming out. He makes it a point to shine light on Tasia as well in that conversation, in that speech. But he talks about his fifth place finish. He talks about the significance of that number 5. Talks about how his friend would have been there for him. He would have been there at that race. He would have been there at that party that they're at right now. He talks about how his last race that he ran, he finished in a time of 5 minutes and 55 seconds. So that 5 is really strong. And he feels that his best friend's been with him since then. That's why all these fives keep occurring in his life. And Tasia had told him that that's his angel number. His voice starts shaking. He's proud of finishing 5th. Most people would look at 5th place as a bad thing, but it's significant to him now. But Nick talks about how his friend had drowned. That's how he passed away, which is sad. That is so sad. But he gets choked up in his confessionals, talking about how much he missed him, knows that he had more life to live and more to give to the world. He starts crying in his confessionals, and he wraps up the little speech with a toast. The party then moves back inside. They about to get lit at this point. They taking shots. The Kappa starts strolling. We get a little history lesson. They also start talking about how fraternities in the black culture in HBCUs, all that stuff. We find out that Noelle is an AKA. It's a lot of just blackness going on, and I love it. That's why I love the show. But everybody's dancing, having a good time. Phil, right, he just shows up randomly. I'm like, so who invited Phil? Because I know Nick didn't. But he shows up, and Nick was looking kind of like, why are you here? But Nick ain't trying to have no beef and no drama at his event. But Phil goes over there talking, trying to make conversation. Everybody else is dancing, twerking, having a good time. Summer ends up going upstairs, saying that she's exhausted from having like 3 deep conversations, pretty much having to explain herself. And she's not drinking too. So she's fully sober. Like, it's a lot on her. She feels like it's best to be in peace and quiet away from the drunk folks, even though she loves them and she knows they're having a good time. But it's just best for her to go upstairs and have peace and quiet. And I'm like, you making a smart decision, Summer. It's good for you. But downstairs, they're down there swag surfing. They look like they was having a good time. But Jordan, like I said, she must be doing her thing on that DJ set, because they was in there dancing and having a ball. And she was over there on that spinning on that turntable. But Phil ends up chatting it up with Tasia's sister. Simon's upstairs with a flamingo suit. This is where it all turns. He's upstairs with a flamingo suit. We all know that this event is super like, I don't want to say highbrow, but it's super like highbrow for black people. So you're supposed to be dressed up nice, not doing any goofy weird shit. Simon is drunk, clearly. He's upstairs with his flamingo suit, comes on downstairs while Bria was actually having fun. Like Bria looked like she was having a good time. But Simon comes down with that shit on and everybody's side-eyeing him. And Bria's pissed off immediately. Pissed. Because she told him not to wear that shit 32 hours ago. Because they showed it. the flashback. And she wants him to take that shit upstairs. And Preston's pretty much asking, like, is he doing it for attention or whatever? And Nick says, like, he feels like it's a time and a place for everything. And that is not the time to do it. And then he says, I'm not shocked, though, because knowing how Simon's track record is, he does a lot of stuff that is just not necessary in the moment. But Bria's hot, like I said, she tells him to go upstairs. And she told him if he don't go upstairs and take that shit off, she's going to break up with him. And she gets so mad, she starts snatching at it because he was not going upstairs. She was snatching at this shit. They start arguing in front of everybody. He then takes it off and slams it and puts it in this like chair in the middle of the living room. He apparently farted. Jasmine, Shanice, and I think it was Alex over there laughing and stuff. Natalie's laughing because they like, this stuff stank. But everybody else is still dancing and stuff. Tasia and Donald go upstairs with Natalie to go devise some type of plan, but we didn't get to see what they was doing. But they up there eavesdropping because Simon and Bria are in the next room arguing. And she tells him that relationship is over. She said, like, their biggest issue is him not listening and respecting what she wants in their relationship. And he always puts himself first. So that's their issue. And we'll see if they end up staying together. We'll see where they at the reunion. I want to know because I don't follow them on social media. So we'll see. But next week, they go bike riding. Natalie is bringing up what's going on with the hand stuff with Nick. And that's what Noelle agreed on it, which pissed Nick off because he feels like at this point she's jumping on the bandwagon. I feel like they're kind of spinning this narrative, which is damaging. Because if it's not true, I don't feel like y'all should be pushing that. But Nick is upset about it because they're kind of like pushing this narrative that he's super handsy. And then Tasia's there too. So it's just like a lot of stuff going on that I feel like is being pushed as a narrative. And I don't feel like it's going that way because they already addressed it and I haven't seen anything else since then. Like Nick hasn't done anything else since then that I feel should even be addressed. But we're going to get it addressed next week in the next episode. But let me know what y'all think. That was my recap. Before y'all jump off of here, thumbs up the video, drop a comment, and subscribe if you are new. And I will see y'all next week. Peace.